Okay, I'm taking my pie crust and I'm just going to put my piece of foil down in the pie crust. I'm going to put my pie weight down in it. And I'll kind of pull that over to the side so it don't get too brown. I'm going to put that in at 350 for about 15 so minutes. I'm going to check it. It might be different on your oven since mine is convection. Okay, I'm going to peel the onion because I need to use this one up. I don't want to use my frozen onions because I need to use this one up. And best way to do that is use it up. I wasn't so sure I was going to get in here today and do anything. Y'all know I went for that iron. Some of you know I went for that iron infusion yesterday. And I'm going to tell y'all something. She gave me a I guess you call it a sample dose, just to see if I wouldn't be allergic, which was only about, probably a cc, maybe 2 cc's, I'm not for sure. And I did fine. Wait 30 minutes. First of all, let me tell you what went on. I'm going to get that pan hot here in a minute. I thought we'd just talk. Let me get this turned on. Get some olive oil in it. Okay. Let me get that kind of spread around there. So another one to go with me. I said, okay, you can go with me. I said, you want to sit in the car? I said, I'll take you in and you can sit in there because I'd been in there before to give blood. You know, when I had hemochromatosis, the same place I went to get the blood taken out. But since the varices burst and all that blood was 2 liters, I have to now go have iron. For you, those of you that don't know, I was supposed to have 1 iron infusion. That's what I went for. It took me a month and a half, 2 months to get the insurance to pay for it. If I'd have known the cost and if I'd known the situation that I got into yesterday, I don't know what I'm going to do. I mean, I still don't. So what happened was, she did the test dose on my iron, and I was fine. Well, she came and brought the other iron. The big, I don't know how big a bag, but thank God I took Mother inside because after we got in there and sitting down in those chairs, you know, like you give blood in. Mother was in her little thing and I was there. And so I just asked, just out of the blue, asked the nurse. I said, well, thinking very little. I said, well, how long is this going to take? She said 5 or 6 hours. I said, 5 or 6 hours? My God. Couldn't believe it. So, thank God I took Mother with me, or she'd have been at home all that time by herself. It was just a godsend. Turn that down a little bit and get some butter. So I was so happy that I took Mother, and I said, Mother, it's going to be 5 hours. I hate for you to sit here and wait. Well, I'm going. I can do it. I'm going to. She was just. I said, let me call one of my sisters to come get you. No, I'm going to sit right here with you. She's as stubborn as a mule. Hated she had to wait. I said, well, okay, Mom. I said, I can come back. You know, I mean, it took a long time, but the great lady said, well, we're so booked up, it'd take you another month and a half, 2 months. So that's why it took so long. I kept not being able to understand why it was going to take so, why it took me so long to get an appointment in the first place. That's because it takes 5 or 6 hours out of the schedule. So I was just kind of dumbfounded. Well, to make a long story short, she started the IV, started the drip of the iron within about, I would say, y'all, 5 minutes, 3 minutes. My throat started closing up. I couldn't breathe. My back started hurting. I felt incoherent. Mother said, what's wrong? I said, get the nurse. So we waved our hand because they can see you all over that whole department. They came over, asked, I told them what was going on. It wasn't but a few seconds, and doctors and nurses and everything was everywhere, and they were doing this and doing that. So, yes, I had an allergic reaction. And to that iron, after I sat for, way over an hour and a half or something, till we could get in the car because I had to drive home. I said, well, I think I'll make it home, Mom. We'll be all right. We don't have to call nobody. And so we got back home. Well, then, y'all, the shit hit the fan. My blood pressure went about 190 over 110. My pulse rate went close to 100 when it usually runs in the 60s, 50s and 60s. So, you know, I was in a bad way. So I called, texted our friend, but yet our PCP. Her and her husband are both, he's a cardiologist and she's just a regular medical doctor. And I texted her, I said, can I get down to the office? It's almost 6 o'clock. Yeah, he'll wait on, well, by the time I got through traffic and got there, he had already went home. He didn't know to wait for me because she couldn't get a hold of him. So I called to the house, and he said, take a half a Benadryl. If you need me to meet you at the emergency room, I will. But let's try this half a Benadryl. Take you a certain amount of blood pressure medicine and propranolol and all that. So I did it all. But about 2 or 3 times last night, I was afraid that I was going to have to call the ambulance because everything just kept getting worse and better, then worse and better. So that's what my evening was. I was going to cook this green bean thing, pie, last night, but I just didn't feel like it. And I wasn't for sure if I was going to get it done today, but I'm some better. At least my blood pressure's gone down, gone back to normal, or for my normal, and gone back, the pulse rate is low again. So I think I'm going to make it. Okay, so now I'm going to add some garlic to that, about a tablespoon. Just kind of lightly fry that. And with your onion. It's kind of toasty. Now you can add mushrooms to this, but Mother doesn't really care for mushrooms, so I'm not going to do that at all. I'm going to get some thyme. We'll put some thyme in there. And a little oregano. A little oregano. I'll do a little celery seed. Just a little celery seed. We have our thyme. We'll get this taken care of here. Okay. I just want that to kind of saute a little bit there while I'm waiting. I'm going to check the crust here in just a second. I'm looking for my thyme. So this is the thyme that I grew. And I'm going to put it through the sieve so it don't get those little things in it. So now y'all heard my story. What y'all doing today? Well, it smells good. Boy, that smells good. I'm going to put some black pepper in it right now. Then I'm going to add something else. Okay, I'm going to add, I use these Blue Lake green beans. They're by Allen's. You know, usually I usually buy the other flat bean, is Allen's. But these, I'll check the pine in a minute. I can't do it right now. You're just going to have to hold your horses. So I'm going to add about let's see. Let me get this kind of taken care of there. Now, I'm just going to add my green beans to this. I guess I'm going to drain those here in the sink. That's going to be a lot of green beans in that. But right here. Now, if you want to make this vegetarian, you can. I'm not going to. I'm going to put a little bit of oil into this pan. And you can do it all in one pot. I'm just doing it this way because I forgot my meat. No wonder I have a brain. Now this is that meat that my brother brought me from Albany, Texas. This is ground beef, $10.40, $6.50 a pound. Now I don't want a whole bunch of this. So I'm just going to take about okay, what I've decided to do is I'm going to go ahead and cook this meat. Because I gotta have it cooked anyway, and there's no sense in letting it ruin so I'm just gonna cook ground meat and just cook it on down. So we might make spaghetti with part of it in the next day or two. But at least the meat will be cooked. You know. So that's what we're gonna do, and then I'll be back. I'm gonna put a little water in with that. That's it. That'll make it thaw everything out. It's pretty thawed out. We'll just let that kind of sit there and cook. That's some good lean hamburger meat. Well, that'd make a good meat sauce. Got it cooking down. Since my iron is low, I can eat some red meat now. Liver don't like it too much, but I've got to try to keep some kind of iron in my body, and the red meat and lentils and stuff like that are so good for it. I wish I could get it all replaced by food or something, but there's just no way. I've lost too much firing during that episode. There's still a few little hard spots in there, not much. We're going to bake this anyway, so we'll just fry it on down there. I put a little salt and a little pepper in it. Okay, let's check that pie crust and see. It said, it didn't say it was done, but we're going to see about it. Let me get it out of here. May have to put it back in there. I can't. It's pretty good. Okay. So now, I'm going to take the foil out gently. Gently. I'm just going to set that over back into my bowl. So there's our pie crust. Let that cool off. This can be set out of the way. That's still hot. So now, what I'm going to do, let me rinse this bowl out. Okay. Now, I'm going to strain that. I'm going to strain that hamburger here, because it got done. That hamburger got done. See, it got done. So, let me strain that over here in the I'm not going to strain all of them. It's going to take about... Okay, I've got that started. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add it's not a half a cup. I put some of it in there, but just so you know, it's sour cream. And then I put a whole stick of cream cheese. And that's going in my meat. And green beans mixture. I'm going to heat that. Don't waste a drop. No, don't waste a drop. Let me get this and get that off of there. Now I'm just going to mix that around in. So remember, that's a cream cheese. And we're just going to mix that around there. Green bean and meat, onion mixture. And then we will... Okay, so what I got my food processor out. And I'm going to take some onion rings that I had in the freezer and I need to use. So instead of putting I decided instead of putting the French fried onions on it, I'm going to do it with the onion rings and see if those work out, which I bet they do. So I'll be right back. I don't want to turn this on while y'all are on here. Okay, so I chopped those up and let me put those in a bowl here. Get that in the center. So we've got those chopped with the onion and the... Now, we're going to layer this in to that pie crust, and I imagine you can make this several days ahead. You can make it and freeze it. So I'm just putting my cream cheese mixture into my pie shell. And I'm going to put that down in there real good. As a child, my mother would make these, and they were always one of my favorite foods. We had, of course, the green beans out of the garden, and our own cows, and all that. There's a red bean pie too, but I always liked the green bean pie. So now the recipe that I'm going to put on there, it's going to tell you how to do the mushrooms, and then how to add you can use the Ritz cracker or breadcrumb or anything like that. And that's what I'll do, is I'm going to use my onion ring. So let me see, I'm going to put the green bean mixture in for about, I'd say 25 or 30 minutes until that filling is bubbly, and then you remove it. And but I'm going to, since this is, I don't have the French fried onions, I'm going to go ahead and layer my onion ring on top of this so that they'll bake along with this. And that'll give it a nice, hopefully, crunch. Since I've never tried this, I guess we'll find out, won't we? Looks kind of nice. I just mash that down in there. Now there's a pie before we bake it, and we'll put that in there for about 25 to 30 minutes. With mine being convection, yours you'd add your mushroom back in and remove from the heat, and then you would put your green bean mixture in there and into the cool pie crust, bake it 25 to 30 minutes or until those, like I said, the filling is bubbly. Then you'd add the French onions on top and bake for about another 5 minutes. So we'll just put that in there into our oven, and we'll bake it probably, let's see, I'm going to put that on. Let me see here. I'm going to put it on bake, and I'm going to leave it on, I guess it's 425, but I don't want it that high, so I'm going to do 375. And I'm going to put mine on for probably 15 minutes convection, and then we will be back. Okay, now that I got the pie out of the oven, and while it's still warm, there's the pie. While it's still warm, I'm going to take some Parmesan cheese, and I'm just going to put it on top of that. Now you can put your American cheese, you can put Parmesan cheese, you can put whatever cheese. And you want quite a bit on top, so that'll hold those onion rings that I used in place. Wasn't no big ordeal. But if you don't want the onions to fall off, the crunchies. We like the crunchies. I had a small piece in there, so it's why it's taking me a little longer. Just kind of get another little piece. Set this over just a little bit. I'll take some off my block of my Parmesan and just cut that. And put it in my little grater here. Okay. Now that'll get it going on. There you go. That'll make it a lot better, I think. Want that melts down into that crust. I mean that onion rings. Well, it's crust. I think that'll help seal that kind of too. Getting it all over the place. Billie Jean's been here. Now I'll put that in. Just kind of broil that. Kind of broil that down a little bit. And I'll be back. Okay, I found I had a little bit of cheddar cheese. I went ahead and added it to the top of the pie. And here's our green bean pie. Let that cool off. And then we'll cut it and we'll have green bean and hamburger pie. And I'll put one of the recipes I've got on there. It's not quite exactly like this, but it's very similar. And we'll cut that, but it's got to cool off all the way to where it's room temp, not room temperature. You want a little, just like you're going to eat it, you know. But that's what we're going to have, is we're going to have our green bean pie in this video. I'll try to holler at y'all later. God bless you, God bless us, God bless the United States. And I wish you was here to have some green bean pie with us, an old Southern tradition. We'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.